So, Congressman, what does today say about what Texas is doing to try and secure the border?
Yeah, great to be down here with Don Buckingham, the land commissioner, doing a great job leading. I know Governor Abbott is with Tom Homan and some other parts along the border. Texas is demonstrating that we're going to step up and fill the breach. But let's be clear, as the guy here, Chris from Border Patrol, who's the vice president of the Border Patrol Union, he pointed out, it's kind of embarrassing that Texas is having to do the work that Border Patrol is supposed to do. The line guys want to do it. They want to fight. They want to secure the border. But this president, this administration, has been prohibiting them from doing that, and worse, forcing them to facilitate the releases of people in our country, including criminals, like the criminal who killed, unfortunately, Jocelyn Ungare. And it was great to have Alexis here, her mom, today. But this is a great day where we're down here demonstrating we're going to do the work. But importantly, we got to do our job in D.C., and we got to pay Texas back, and we got to make sure we're given the resources needed to Border Patrol and ICE to get the job done, but importantly, change the law permanently so we can never have this happen again.
That's one thing I was going to ask you. That's one thing you mentioned is paying Texas back. Does that mean for all of Project Lone Star, or does that mean for the $3.8 million that they spent on this piece of land? What does that really mean?
I mean, frankly, it should be all of it, because we shouldn't be having to do this job. It is a clear duty of the federal government and the Constitution. But at a minimum, we ought to be getting paid back for all the stuff we're having to do to build the fencing that should have been completed, but also do a lot of the support in the back on the patrolling, the razor wire when we had to put that up in order to prevent flow in certain parts along the border. And so those are all things that we need to look at. But Texas has been taking on the chin. That's $13-14 billion taken out of Texas, where we could have used that for roads, highways, facilitating schools and whatever we need to do for the people inside of Texas.
Yeah, that's in $3.8 million here. Obviously, many billions of dollars spent across the state. Is there a timeline that you guys are trying to get some of that back to Texas by? What does that look like from a federal level?
Well, look, I mean, I certainly think it ought to be a priority in the next appropriation, and certainly, we're talking about the need to apply fees to all of the parolees that have been released into the United States, tax remittances. I think some of those remittance taxes that are coming back probably ought to go back to pay Texas, and not just Texas. I mean, there's a few other border states that have had to fill the gap, but I think certainly Texas has been the one that's taken it on the chin the most. So I think we can do a lot in what we call reconciliation in Washington, which is the package that we can move through with a majority vote out of the Senate. So I expect us to do some of that work with the fees and remittances, parole fees, and so forth. So hopefully we can get some of that revenue and do some good things with it.
As far as the detention centers and whatnot on a piece of land like this and across the state of Texas, where are you standing on the mass export or deportation of criminals from the state of Texas and using detention centers such as the one that might be built on this land right here?
Yeah, I mean, whatever it takes. I mean, I was glad to see Dawn talking about that Texas resources will be made available to facilitate the Trump administration's efforts to engage in what needs to be done in terms of deportation and removal. As I said here, it shouldn't just be criminals. Obviously, we want to focus on getting criminals either in jail behind bars or out of our country, or both. But importantly, it's also the fact that we've had however many million, we're trying to get a beat on the total number, 5.5 million that were released into the United States unlawfully and illegitimately under this so-called parole program. They are not lawfully present in the United States. So we've got to remove all of the people, because a lot of these folks are using a lot of the social welfare state in our country. We're eating the bill in Texas. We're eating the bill in our schools, in our hospitals, in our jails, and all the public services. I mean, talk to Kinney County. Brent is down here somewhere, wherever he is. Talk about how many arrests they've had in Kinney County from 2021 to now. They were doing about 170 a year, and they've had something like 16,000 since then. I mean, it's absurd what we've done to the people of Texas. So we need to pay them back. We need to make sure that we do what we need to do to get deportations done. Whatever resources Texas can do sharing with the federal government, great, but the feds need to step up and do their job.
When it comes to bringing and taking so much of this land, she mentioned multiple plots of land as part of this Jocelyn's initiative. Yep. Is that something that the Trump administration should take Don Buckingham and the state of Texas up on, or how should that work?
Well, I certainly think the feds ought to consider it. I'm not going to get in front of Tom Homan or get in front of the, presumably the new Homeland Security Secretary. But what I do think is the federal government ought to work directly in coordination with Texas, Governor Abbott, with Don Buckingham. Whatever resources can be brought to bear to solve the problem, we should do it. This is not new. I mean, this is our job, to secure the border of the United States. So if we can use this land, awesome. If we can use other parts, other land throughout Texas, awesome. If we can use existing facilities, awesome. Whatever we need to do to get the job done, it needs to be done quickly.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think we're good.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
Appreciate
Happy
y'all.
Thanksgiving.